Welcome back to Uncle Jack Walks. This week we are praising the work of the Academy, in particular one, Matty Litherland. What a performance against Millwall at the weekend. RITD says, good lad, we have to respect and show support for the Academy. Don't forget, it's Jack Walker's legacy, RITID. I hope you're doing well. We've got Tom and Louis back with us to look over that 2-0 win over Millwall, and everything is right with the world again on Rovers Podcast. How you're doing? This week we're talking about giving gifts to Blackburn Rovers players. Who needs a gift from us and what would it be? We're talking about the best away fans we've seen at Ewood Park this season. We're up to letter K, and we're also doing the best player of 2025. Tom, Louis, hope you're well. Let's jump that one on. Right, let's talk Academy, shall we? Oh, but we're also talking about Tronstad as well, because many fans are starting to worry now about that growing statistic that says when Tronstad starts, you never lose. And of course, there's only 5 months of that potentially left as well. Right, Tom, yeah, let's talk about Matty Litherland. Before we get into it, have you heard of him before?
Yeah, I'd heard of him. I've not seen anything of him really. I know he's highly sought of in the academy, and he's been on the bench quite a lot of times this season and last season without actually making an appearance. So they said good things about him, but I didn't really know much about his ability until he obviously got the start. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in the water in that academy, but we seem to be producing players on like a rotating door. It's like a conveyor belt of top level players that seem to come through. And I thought he played brilliantly at right back. And I know Alibiosi has been a really key player for us this season, and to lose him to the African Cup of Nations, which was a surprise to all of us. We brought him in the start of the season. We were all panicking a bit last week, thinking, who's going to come in and replace him? But he stepped up and played really well, and he played that real attack-minded game that Ishmael obviously wants, and he almost slotted in exactly where Alibiosi would play in the same sort of style. So I was very impressed with him, alongside George Pratt, and then we had Tom Atchison that came on as well, and Didamini came on as well with like minutes to go. And it's a real credit to the work being done behind the scenes in the academy that we can play something like 500 or 600 games repeatedly with an academy player in the squad. So it's really quite amazing what they're doing down there, considering we are on a shoestring budget and we need these players to be embedded into the first team.
Yeah, high praise indeed Louis was given to him. Sam here says he was absolute class today. He's the next Adam Wharton, if you get what I'm saying. Full credit to Val for playing the young lads. Yeah, the manager needs a bit of credit here. He might have no other option over coming weeks with injuries and suspensions, but yeah. Are you happy as a fan to have a manager who's happy to put some of the young lads in?
Absolutely. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a manager who's had this much trust in our academy. You know what I mean? It feels like when I saw him starting, it felt like a massive long shot, and I didn't think he was going to do that well, but he did really step up and play brilliantly. I always thought he was more of a centre back, but he's slotted in at right wing back really well. But no, in terms of the manager trusting him, obviously he's done it. He did it with Pratt, and then he brought on a few subs, like Tom said, of academy players. I didn't really know the last one, but I know Atchison and obviously George Pratt and Matty Litherland. But no, I like how he has trust in our academy and that it's working.
Lewis Hamill says overall good win, scrappy game, but took our chances. Defensively really good. Pratt, Miller, Litherland stood out for me. Would like to play Cantwell, Barajdi, Tronstad together for 90 minutes. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Yeah, Tom, last week we were talking about all the doom and gloom and are we relegation fodder, and can I ask you about the protests a little bit here as well, because I don't know, I feel for some of the Rovers fans because the attendance was poor, of course, on Saturday. Do we need a protest right now? Is it going to be harmful more than good?
Yeah, that's a really difficult question to answer. I think something needs to change in the club. There's no transparency between us and the owners, and I think the way the season has panned out with some of the transfers and replacing established championship level players with relatively unknown players at the start of the season was a massive gamble. They are starting to embed into the team now, and they can play well. as we have seen, but we are also very vulnerable in some games. I think the state of the pitch against Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday was a massive issue with the fans having had two winnable games postponed through the pitch. And I read somewhere that the pitch hasn't actually been replaced in like 36 years. I know the groundsmen have won awards in recent years for the pitch at Rovers, but to not replace a pitch in that long is ridiculous considering we're on the reference. The protest, I think it's a last straw for many for the Watford game. The fans have been, I mean, I can't go to many games from my location where I live in Worcester, but I think for the fans that live up there, I mean, Louis he's there more than me. I think it's got a lot of fans have really kind of at their wits' end now with this, and I think something's got to change, and there's no communication with anything. And I think they're looking at the model that Sheffield Wednesday did and how they refused to spend any money in the concourse, refused to buy anything online, anything in the club shop, and then almost had a blanket approach of we're not going to go to the games for 3 or 4 months. I don't quite know what one game's going to achieve, whether or not they're going to carry this on and roll it out for the rest of the season. I don't know. It's going to have a detrimental effect on the players. There's no doubt about that. The players want to play in front of a big crowd. And if you're trying to entice players to come and play for Rovers, you want to be using Ewood Park, which is over 31,000. You want to see it full. And it's sad to look at the state. I mean, Louis is, 17, 18 years old, and he's never really seen Rovers as a half-decent side. When they were in the 90s and early 2000s, we were filling up Ewood Park, and we had some amazing players playing for us, and it is quite a sad indictment of where we are. But I think things do have to change, and if this is the way it has to happen, then so be it, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, Jonathan made a point here. Louis says, great win. This boycott rubbish can wait till the end of the season. We need to get behind this team, yeah. And I get that. I mean, a team in relegation struggles, like we spoke about last week, doesn't need a fan base deserting them, does it?
See, from my point of view, probably not. But I'm probably a bit younger. I'm obviously newer. I'm a bit more passionate. But I don't think we should be doing this all boycotting stuff right now. And I think could wait till next season. Just get this one done. Make sure we don't get relegated. Get behind the team. Give them all as much confidence as we possibly can, and just get away from that relegation zone. If we start slating the players and not getting behind our own team, then it'll affect their brains and their morale, and it just won't give them any sort of boost at all, and it could even lead to us being relegated. Things like that. Fans and fan bases are so important in football. It's a lot of the reason why, like, all the Premier League teams, like, they have massive fan bases, like Sunderland, Newcastle, like even Manchester United. They're not playing that well, but their fans are still getting behind the team and still supporting them through like tough times, through tough periods. So I think we should keep going, just try and support the team as much as we can.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll hear more on this as we go through. Yeah, but if you're going to Watford, yeah, let us know in the comments what you plan to do, and whether you think this is something we should be getting behind, or something we should be having a go at. Let's talk about Tronstad then. So I mentioned before about the stat about him. Yeah, slightly got it wrong. So it's the last 5 games he started, that Rovers have won rather than not lost. Rovers Podiat Super Sonny Stephen says maybe we offer him a better deal than we've got, instead of just letting him walk out the door without a fight. Yeah, just a thought. We've only got 5 more months of him left, Tom, haven't we, based on his current contract? What do you suspect's going to happen here? You suspect you're going to lose him?
Yeah, I think he's going to go. I think he's made his mind up. I think there's a family issue, and I think he wants to move back to Norway, from what I've read in the press.
Yeah,
he will be a huge loss, I think. In particular, when we had him and Travis last season in the middle of the park. The way he can dictate the play, he's composed. He's one of the... What's underrated, I think, in the Blackburn team is that he's a senior pro, and we haven't got many of those players that have been there for a few seasons, know the division, know the club, that the younger players coming through can look up to, because his experience in that team. I mean, he was a player of the year last year. It's invaluable. And when he's injured or when he's not playing, you see this team definitely suffers as a result of that. hopefully, I'm guessing all is not said and done, but how things have transpired recently in recent seasons, I think once a player's made his mind up, I mean, we saw it with Brereton and Diaz, we saw it with Dolan. Nothing ever comes out from them directly. It's all kind of hearsay. But I think he's going to go, which will be a real sad loss for us. And I don't know how we're going to really replace him, but we do seem to find these little gems out of nowhere. So hopefully there's someone in the wings ready to come in and step in his role.
Louis, what does he give you when he's here, versus when he's not? What do you miss?
I just miss seeing him. It's like just seeing his name in the team sheet's enough for me. But no, yeah, he holds the team together. I think not just the midfield. I think it's the entire team. I think just he creates. He'll move the ball forward. He'll drop in and receive it. He never loses it. If he does go, obviously, it's just a huge disappointment. But I can imagine the club are going to do everything they can to keep him and offer him a new contract. I think similar to what they did with Tyree Stolden.
Yeah, okay.
But I also think he's made up his mind, and I think he wants to move back abroad.
We're into the Christmas fixtures then. Middlesbrough, then, Tom, who have just started playing really, really well. And then Sheffield Wednesday away, of course, the reverse of that cancelled fixture early on. 3 points okay here from those two games, would you say? Or is four the minimum?
I was chatting to Harry, Mark and Jason about this today, actually. Whatever it is, I think when it comes to the teams that are playing well at the top end of the league table, we don't really seem to have an issue with them. And I think I had a real good feeling about the Millwall game at the weekend. I really thought we were going to just turn it up, considering how doom and gloom it was last week. And I thought, I watched it back and I thought I came across so negative. So I was really I had a really real feeling we were going to do well against Millwall. And I feel the same against Middlesbrough. They lost to Bristol City at the weekend, and we've obviously won. And then Sheffield Wednesday, we should not be fearing them. So yeah, I think 4 points should be a minimum of what we should be going for. It's just frustrating because we do play well. We have played well in for 3 quarters of games, and sometimes we switch off, and it's our own undoing through lack of concentration or an unforced error that we kind of switch off and then we'll concede. If we can get rid of those mistakes, then we are the makers of a good side here. But I think 4 points should be what we should, minimum what we should be looking for. And then we've got Wrexham, I think, and then Charlton, which are very winnable games. So the next 4 games, we should be looking to get as many points as possible and not just think, we'll sit back and get a draw. We should be going for like 9-10 points, in my opinion.
We'll be back in the new year, of course, to do all that. This is our last recording of 2025, so I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's ever contributed to any comments or views, especially those of you who've subbed already as well. And obviously, we want to wish all of you an incredibly, very restful Christmas period. Before we finish, though, we have got to announce our player of 2025, which might be tough given everything that's been going on the last 12 months or so. But Louis, looking back from January through to now, who gets your award for this?
I think every Rovers fan's going to agree because we've had so many players leave, and I know we can nominate a player who's left, but we don't have many players who've been here long, and I think the big answer is Sondre Tronstad. If I had to choose a secondary option, I'd probably choose Yuki Ohashi just because of how hard he works and how much he gives for the badge. But in terms of his consistency and how much he actually affects the team, it would have to be Tronstad for me.
Okay, Tom.
Yeah, it's a good shout there. I was really thinking about this, and I thought a year as a whole and how he's come on, especially this season. I think Ohashi for me would probably get the nod. He's now scored double figures. He's got a cracking partnership going on with Good Johnson this season. He's adding more goals to his game, which he was lacking towards the end of last season, at the start of the season this year. He's got an incredible work rate. When some of the players went missing in games, you could never fault him for trying. He's got an incredible attitude. The fans love him. He works hard for the team. And I think he has scored some crucial goals this year to get us over the line. And he generally seems happy to be at Rovers. So I think either Ahashi or Tronstad would get the nod. But there's been no real standout player, I think, like we've had in previous years with Asmodic, who have just ran away with it and single-handedly dragged us through the mud. But I think Tronstad kind of does the unfashionable work. Doesn't always go noticed by the mainstream media. And Ahashi's obviously got a fantastic attitude and is a fan favourite. So either of those two, I think, thoroughly deserve to get the Player of the Year.
Good. Okay. Right, we are moving into letter K then for our A to Z. Any of you got a good shout for this?
I thought Jeff Kenner to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a very big one, very big name with Rovers fans. I've got Kenny Dalglish.
I thought that. Are we allowed to have King Kenny for that? Does he count?
Well, I suppose because it's King Kenny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose with the all right, we'll have to allow it. Yeah, although we didn't do D for Dalglish, did we?
But Brian Douglas got it.
Okay, right, yeah, fair enough, right.
Yeah, King Kenny. That's the winner straight away then. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put King Kenny in there, are we? Yeah, that was nice and easy. Right, who are the best away fans who have visited Ewood Park this season? We've been spreading some goodwill against other fan bases. So, who's been the loudest, Tom?
Good question. I'm always impressed whenever Leeds or Sunderland, I know they're in the Premier League now, whenever they come to Ewood Park, they always travel in numbers and they're always raucous and they always have a go. I think, so probably Sunderland fans, I think, will just edge it for me when they get the whole diamond in and sell out 7,000. And I've got a friend who I work with, who's a massive Sunderland fan, goes home and away, and he and some of the stories I hear from those boys. So I would say Sunderland fans for me that they get the nod.
Louis, this season, who's been the best so far?
I mean, I've only really been to one home game. I don't have season ticket anymore. When it was Ipswich, it wasn't even a full game. Although they were quite loud when ref called off the game, but
okay.
a set of fans I do really like is Leeds. When they come round, they are probably the best I hear. Obviously not in this league, but it's hard for me to choose this season because I've not really been there.
Okay. Right. Finally, then, this episode, we are awarding a gift, Tom and Louis, to give to any player they want from Blackburn, or they can give it to a rival fan base as well if they want, if they think that there's a fan base in need of a gift. We spoke to Burnley, of course, on their podcast. They want to get you a new pitch and some umbrellas and some Wellington boots, of course, and some snorkels, I think it was, that they said. Louis, do you want to give any gift to any particular player or fan base?
The one I had in my head was Tronstad, a new contract.
Okay.
Really, I think.
Yeah, good shout.
So.
Tom?
A framed photo of a snake to John Eustace at Derby. I think he can have one of those.
I had that. I had something similar in my head.
Okay.
Just an inflatable snake.
Yeah.
All right, let it go. He's gone. All right, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who would you give a gift to, and what would it be? Listen, you two, have a cracking Christmas. Thank you for all your work on this one. Thank you also to Mark and to Harry and, of course, to Jason as well, who are off on their travels already this Christmas, who can't be with us this week. Thank you, of course, for watching. We'll see you in the new year for more entertaining Rovers chat. Have a very Merry Christmas. Thanks all.